is it that the media always seems to, that the international media always seems to break news about our troops that the New Zealand media doesn't know?
They directly ask the question.
Well, we've asked you many times where our troops are.
Well, I just don't think it's new news that they have a transit stop.
No, he doesn't think it's new news, but some news people actually do. Last week he described himself as our most casual Prime Minister ever. Was he too casual with that information? Heather, we'll get the news perspective first.
Look, I think that, there's some people who think that there is some sort of conspiracy theory and he's withholding things from the New Zealand media to be unkind. I don't think that's the case. I think it's probably more likely that he's just a bit loose-lipped, a bit casual, and I think that the risk that he runs is that that perception keeps on growing. We've got the ponytail saga, it's being casual, we've got being casual with information like this. It's not hurting him now, but should he say something out of turn that does have repercussions, it's going to be very damaging, so he doesn't need to be careful.
Michelle, this casualness has been his strength up until now, and starting to turn against him.
I think it still is a strength and will be for some time. But I think that questioning from the media about the troops having to be in Dubai, for heaven's sake, you can't fly from New Zealand to Iraq. They have to stop somewhere, and it made them look petulant and petty.
But he'd been avoiding answering direct questions from New Zealand media for some time over our troop movements.
That's right.
Shouldn't the people of New Zealand be informed first?
Because troop movements are obviously a security issue, and especially given the region they're going into.
But you see what's happening. He's telling international media, not telling New Zealand media.
Because the international media actually were alert to the fact that these troops were in Dubai on their way. Now, you know, the New Zealand media should have been doing their job as well.
But the New Zealand media have been asking these questions over and over. We give you chapter and verse on that.
For heaven's sake.
It's a security threat. It's an international security threat, and it was the international media that were told first, Michelle. This is, I mean, I admit the Prime Minister's had a stressful time, but he lets things slip, he lets things get under his skin, and it's going to be that continual sort of drip, drip, drip that's going to erode John Key's support.
That's wishful thinking, and the key issue here is, having spent that week with the Prime Minister and the delegation he had with him, that while he was there, promoting New Zealand's free trade agreement, helping these businesses to generate more business for New Zealand, the two issues that the media of New Zealand focused on were a ponytail and whether or not they were told first about troop movements.
And the other issue that the New Zealand media focused on was human rights. Now, was human rights raised? In the Herald on Sunday this morning, trade trumps human rights, says one column, and that's where we're at now.
Says one left-wing columnist.
Okay. Do you agree that there's $50 million worth of value to this free trade agreement? That's what's been put forward.
Oh, there's much more than that. I mean, this whole region, the Gulf states by themselves, are now New Zealand's fifth biggest trading partner. They have overtaken
$1.9 billion worth of trade.
The UK. You think 40 years ago, New Zealand was just trading with the UK. Now they are a bigger trading partner than the UK. All free trade agreements deliver much more than the initial modelling. So it's certainly worth a lot. The Prime Minister did raise human rights issues, but my point is, where he was there promoting New Zealand's interests, the media were focused on the trivial, and so was the Labour Party back here in the House.
The media weren't just focused on the trivial. They were talking about the beheadings, the public floggings, the amputations all happen under the justice system in Saudi Arabia. You call that trivial?
Well, the Prime Minister did raise these human rights issues in every stop that was relevant.
What difference does that make?
Well, I think it is a difference, because it was interesting in one of the interviews with the world's biggest single investor in the United States, which was following the audience with him. The media were there. They were having a very interesting discussion about issues, and then one of the journalists raised human rights, and this particular person, who didn't have to conduct the interview, just terminated the interview and walked off because he didn't want to talk about it. Now, what that did was deprive the rest of the media from actually learning more about some really key issues about international trade and what's going on.
All right. Kate?
The idea that